Hello, Lou Everett here with the Lou Everett Group. I believe that everyone has a story. Their story. A story that most people do not even know nor will know unless we ask. Well, I started asking, and I'm constantly inspired by the story of others. How did we get where we are today? What did life bring along the way that makes us who we are? What is the whole story? Your whole story. My friend Luke Hopkins shares his story today. Be prepared to be inspired.
My father was born in 1902. Not my grandfather,
Mm,
my father.
okay.
So that means my father was 63 years old when I was born.
Mm, wow.
I have four older than me and three younger than me. So my youngest, he was probably 63, 72 when she was born.
Mm, wow.
Um, so imagine I was born in 1965. 65s, the 70s, that was not the greatest time period in life for us. Um, we come up extremely poor.
Mm,
So imagine if my father is 63 when I'm born. By the
yeah.
time he's 65, I'm only 2 years old. I don't know him. I mean, you don't even know you're alive. By
Right.
the time he's 73, I'm just 10 years old. I'm just realizing that I'm alive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
By the time I'm 19, he's already what, 80 something years old, maybe.
Wow.
Um, I joined the military when I was 19. So needless to say, I didn't get a chance to play basketball, catch, baseball, any of that stuff with my father.
Mm,
I
mm,
remember him always struggling, trying to just make ends meet. My mother didn't work. My father worked at the Salvation Army thing doing um, just minimum work. And I remember coming up so poor. I didn't even know I was poor.
right.
I mean, I didn't know. I remember it being so cold in our house. I'm not exaggerating. It
Mm,
was so cold in our house that we woke up to a frozen toilet.
man.
I'm talking about the water in the basin,
Yeah.
frozen. I remember you could see your breath in the air in the house. That's how cold it was. And so my father was the pastor of the church.
Wow. Okay.
Um, and I think it was probably a source of income, still not enough to live because we're a very
Mm,
small congregation, very small. And I have some very good values instilled in me, which keeps me grounded.
mm-hmm.
But those values that are instilled in you as a child do not come to fruition until you're old enough and have enough sense to use them.
Very true.
So there is this perception that the pastor's child is the worst one on the block, and I think they were talking about me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, so I lived up to that those accolades. The gang banging, the hoodlum, running the streets. The day before I joined the army, I was 19 years old. The day before I joined the army, I almost got arrested for trying to steal some tires off a car.
Wow.
The only reason why I did not go to jail is because the police officer knew me.
Mm,
I worked at a record store. I guess you're old enough to know what records are.
sure do. Sure do.
I worked at a record store, and this police officer would come in there all the time, and I would give him a DJ discount.
I got you.
And so every day he come in, I just give him a discount.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just so happened this one day, I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do. And I remember the police car followed me down the street. And I said, I'm not about to get into no high speed chase. I just pulled over in park, turned the car off. He pulled over behind me. And I'm sitting there in the passenger seat. I got a friend sitting there beside me. And he's saying, I'm saying to myself, man, I'm going to jail. Crap. I'm going to jail. Crap. And he walked up to the window. He tapped on the window. I rolled out the window. He looked in and he said, Luke. Oh man, I'm so glad it was this police officer. Oh my God.
I'm sure.
Oh my God, I was so glad it was him.
Yeah.
He said, what are you doing? What you doing out here? I said, I'm leaving my girlfriend's house. He said, no, you need to go home and get off the streets. Go home. So I went, of course, I went straight to the house and I'm like, thank God. I'm certain that God has always had his hand on me. That's my life story. I know for a fact God has his hands on me.
Yeah.
I can think of so many different times where I should not have made it. And I'm like, how did I get through that? How did I survive that? God has always had his hand on me.
Wow.
And I don't want to get theological on you, but
no, it's okay.
The common sense that I have now has not always been there. I evolved slowly but surely under this protection that I can't see, but I know that it's there.
Yeah.
I have so many stories where I know I was not supposed to make it. I remember I went to school on the south. I lived on the south side of Chicago. I played in a band. I'm a musician. I play saxophone. My band director, white guy, my band director in a black neighborhood, took me under his wing and just saw something in me. I'm probably 10 years old. He took me under his wing. I graduated grammar school, went to high school on the south side of Chicago. He says, Luke, I think you need to do better than this. I want you to go to school on the north side of Chicago. Take me an hour and a half to get there. And plus, I live on the south side. How can I go to school on the north side? He said, don't worry about it. I'm going to let you use my address.
Wow.
His father was the band director at this school. You got to remember how poor we were.
Yeah.
He helped my mother purchase me my first saxophone while I was in high school.
Wow.
Let me use his address so I can go to the school. So here you have this black kid traveling all the way to the white side of Chicago to go to this upper echelon school. God has always had his hands on me. So all my friends are back here on the south side of Chicago, still gangbanging. I'm so naive and dumb, I would leave school and cut class sometimes, just come hang out with them. But I was still in a better environment.
Wow.
One day on the way home from school, I had my football equipment, my saxophone, and my school books. I'm loaded down. And I remember some guys on the train came by, they threw up some gang sign, I threw up the gang sign, and then I realized they came back. Oh my goodness, they in a different gang.
Wow.
So there's nobody on the train except me and these 3 or 4 individuals. And they're standing around me. I have a knife in my pocket. But I don't have the guts to use it.
Interesting.
The train pull up to the police, to the next stop, and the police walk in on the train. What's going on here?
Wow.
I'm like, holy crap. So he took all 3 of them to jail and told me to go home. I have my own proof that God has his hands on me. So I can keep going. God has his hands on me. I'm trying not to be hard-headed. I try to be humble. I try to stay grounded. Doesn't matter how much money I make, I will never forget who I am and where I come from.
So why do you think, the one, in your story, there's a few things that really stood out to me, but the gentleman that you said, the white gentleman who helped you, and I love the way you broke that up, because you know, he was from a very different part of the city than you were, but he saw something in you that he wanted to help with, and then he helped you with that process of, you need to go to school here, and somehow that trajectory began to completely, just that moment, it seems, started to kind of make you become more aware.
Yep.
Maybe?
Yep.
And is that the right word?
That's a fact.
Of like, and then so then when after that, like you say, on the way up from school, you're sitting there in the train with these guys, and you realize, all of a sudden you're just sitting there realizing, the awareness comes like, what am I what is this?
Yeah.
What is this? And then of course the police officer comes in, and you're like, wow, that just an amazing story. So what do you think? Is there anything? Why would that gentleman at that stage in your life just decide to help you?
That's funny that you asked that, because I asked him this about 5 years ago. So remember, I play saxophone.
Right. I want to hear that one day, by the way. I want to hear you play.
Okay.
You said you said you were a musician. I'd love to hear it. So we'll have to do that when all this clears up.
No problem at all. It'll be a pleasure. One day, I'm about 8, 9, 10 years old. I realized I can't play. This is frustrating. I'm gonna quit. I snuck into the band room. I set my saxophone down and went to class. I want to return it. I'm not gonna say anything to anybody. I'm just out of here. Well, that afternoon, the band director comes up to the classroom and says, "Luke, what are you doing?" I said, "Mr. Golden, I quit. I can't play." He said, "No, I'm not going to let you quit. Come on back down to band practice. Come get your saxophone. I'm not going to let you quit." I'm obedient. Okay, let me go and take myself back to class. This was probably, I couldn't have been no more than maybe 12 years old at the time. And so for him to follow me to high school, help me purchase my own saxophone. I played in the orchestra in this high school. I played in the concert band in this high school. Last time I saw him was probably 1984. I went to Germany working with this company. Here I am, 50-something years old later. My company says we are doing an advisors conference in Chicago. I said, all right, I'm going back home.
Yeah.
I call him when I land in Chicago, and I said, let me invite you and your wife out to come to dinner with us. Now, this is a huge extravaganza. This is like we got our own private table, and it's like very ritzy. It's like, if you walk in this room and you see the glamour in this room, you are really wondering, what in the world am I doing here? How did I make it here?
Wow.
So here is my band director who remembered me, this poor kid. And here it is. Oh, by the way, I manage Europe.
Wow.
I have a surprise for you later. We're standing in the foyer of this humongous hotel downtown Chicago. There's a little band playing, and it's crowded. There's probably 200 people in here just standing around listening to them playing. And they say, okay, all right, we're going to take a break right now, Luke. It's yours. You take it. And here I am, me and my saxophone.
Wow.
And he's like, what are you about to do? I said, just watch this. The music started playing, and I eat it up. I mean, I tear this place up for maybe about an hour. It's just me, music, people dancing. And he's like, how did you do this? How do you play like that? And I said, I have to thank you, because do you remember when I quit? Do you remember when I quit playing? And he's like, man, and just because you coached me and told me to continue to play, here is how I do what I do, because you helped me. And I asked him, I said, out of all the kids in this band, out of all the children in the school, why did you pick me to help?
Yeah.
And he said, I just saw something in you. I saw something in you. I saw something. Your parents were struggling and trying to help and trying to make it. I just saw something in you. And every time I am, somebody asks, who is the most impressionable, the person who left the biggest impression on you in your life, or who's your favorite school teacher, or who's your favorite this? I always said it's you. You are the person who inspired me and helped me to be who I am at a very early age in life. And he was like, wow, man, I did not know that.
Right. Wow. Man. I can imagine what he must have felt at that moment.
And I introduced him to the crowd. And I said,
did you really?
I sure did.
Oh,
I said, ladies and gentlemen, the only reason why I'm playing this saxophone right now is because of this man right here. And they're like, who is that?
Wow, man, what a great story. My gosh. Man. And he just saw something in you, and he was just driven in some way, for some reason, to push you along and to do what he could to help.
He got me my first job. I worked at Soldiers Field, the Chicago Bears, selling Coke.
That's awesome.
So here I am, this kid who can't afford to ride the bus hardly, standing up here watching the Bears play. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna make some money in the process, but I'm enjoying this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't get here by myself. People helped me.
Right. I want you to tell us who you are business-wise. So what is your business? What do you do now? I know you talked about mutual funds and life insurance and helping people create financial planning. So tell me the name of your business. What is it you do? And reiterate again why you do what you do.
So I'm a financial advisor, fully licensed. I work as a fiduciary, and I work with Mass Mutual right now. I didn't start off with Mass Mutual. I started out with another company, First Command Financial Services. But I still do the exact same thing. I help people. I believe that I haven't been empowered with a knowledge, a gift, a talent. And I believe that I was empowered with this so I can share it, not to keep it. So I help families go through life and accomplish the goals that they have set for themselves from a financial perspective. I know that money is not everything, but money gives you the opportunity to be you. Well, I want you to be you. I don't know who you are. I hope you're a good you, but I want you to be you. I want you to go through life and accomplish the goals you have set for yourself.
Right.
But in order to accomplish these goals, we need a plan. We just can't wake up when we're 60 years old and say, I think I'm going to retire. Well, did you plan to retire? Or you can't wait till your children are 17 years old and say, I think we're going to go to college next year. Did you plan for them to go to college? My job is to help families go through life with a plan. And so I'm trying to help them foster the proper habits. The problem is not that we don't earn enough money. The problem is we don't have the right habits. And so I help families get started. I educate them because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So I educate them in the process trying to get from point A to point B. And then you don't even have to do it on your own. I hold your hand and I take you down the path and I say, come on, no, just listen to me and trust me. So I have to build up a trusted relationship with clients and families and business owners. I help business owners as well. And we're just trying to get from point A to point B from a financial perspective.
That's awesome. And so how many years now would you say that you have been in this field in your career?
13, 14.
That's awesome. Very, very good. I mean, it's and I'll be honest with you. I think that it's amazing that because I see this in my head, right? You've got, Luke, the son of a poor family, right? Who had no idea what money even was or how to plan for it. Who here he is today, showing people helping people how to plan for something that he didn't even know
Yeah.
before your
Yeah.
journey began.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
what a way to give back to people something that you didn't have at one point in your life. That's amazing. So I applaud you for that. And I think that you are a good example of how using the strengths that you've learned over the years, giving credit to those that have taught you over the years for where you are, and giving that to other people too. I mean, that truly is the heart of a servant, and as a servant leader, and that is where even Sherry and I are the same. That is, those are our people.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like you, we have a very small group of what we consider tight friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like you said, there's values, right? There's that value there, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. I love, and now I can see the perfect example of the whole story, right? Of we all are here. We've ended up somewhere. Well, there's a reason,
Right. Yeah.
and that whole story just makes it more clear. And I love it, man. Thank you for sharing that with me.